Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to episode 238 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, with co-host Zack Carlson. This is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Hey, Zack.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So my state still isn't locked down. There's like 37 states that are locked down, and I still live in a free state.
Was it because just by nature of living there, you're already social distancing?
Well,
like, they got it.
Pretty much. I don't know. Our governor's been very intentional in saying that, it's everyone's personal responsibility and that they're not going to force things on us. So we'll see.
Well, it's good. It's just the problem is personal responsibility. People don't actually take personal responsibility in most places. Maybe they do in South Dakota, but
yeah, I guess we'll see. See how it all hammers out with those states that do and don't. So you're still alive, so I guess you're still co-hosting this show.
Why did you want to play your field or a little bit or something?
I'm just saying. I'm taking applications at gunguyradio@gmail.com just in case.
Yeah, have at it. Just leave my links in there. That's cool.
So you're working from home still? How's that going? Another weekend of that?
It's better. It's not bad. It's interesting. I think the biggest thing will be interesting when all this blows over is like, will people transition back to office work smoothly or not?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I've been seeing effects with patches are actually delayed a little bit, and not because of production or anything like that, but because like FedEx is just completely don't know what to do because there's not as many flights going all over the place, and it's affecting the post office, FedEx, UPS. So all their hubs are backed up because of all this lack of air travel. Because while they do fly their own, FedEx and UPS do have their own planes, they heavily rely on commercial airliners to carry loads in the cargo.
I had no idea. I didn't. I knew they had their own planes. I just assumed they all went on there. But yeah, I guess if they go in the belly of the regular planes too, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's really affecting a lot of stuff. So Patch of the Month is slightly delayed, but it's ready to go as soon as FedEx figures their crap out.
I couldn't. Did you? I don't know. You probably haven't seen it yet, but Gun Mag Warehouse. It's a magazine company. That's where I got my 110 round drum from. They posted a video on Instagram the other today, I think it was, that they just walked down the line of people that were packaging and shipping at their place, and they had those big like metal grid Gaylords that are the size of a pallet, and they're about 4 feet high, of just like a border that you just fill like a big tub, just full to the brim. They had like stations just packed and packed and packed. And then they panned over to where the truck was getting loaded, and there were just like rows of those Gaylords getting ready to go onto the trucks. I'm like, I could not imagine the volume that, their mailman must just hate them. I'm assuming they just send a truck there and just leave a semi-trailer there.
Yeah. Some of these gun companies and everything, I heard it's going to get really crazy because I heard one or two of the distributors are closing down temporarily.
Yeah, that's a funny thing because the one that, if you're thinking the same one, they're saying that like every day they would say we're open and shipping, we're open, everything is going fine, but we're not getting much from our suppliers and blah blah blah. And then I think it was yesterday maybe or day before, it came out at the end of the day like, oh yeah, we're shutting down as of Monday to the 20th, I think. So it's like a 2-week shutdown, and you can still place all your orders as normal, of course, but I have no idea how that's going to work.
I don't understand what 2 weeks is going to do. Isn't
that just the whole flattening the curve thing, that less chance of transmitting it internally?
I guess. I don't know.
The other one is, there's people just having issues with like, what do you do when you have packages come from unknown sources and stuff like that? Like, is it infected? Because now they were saying it only lived on surfaces for, whatever amount of time. Now it's that like 3 weeks now or something, some crazy number. And it's like, okay, what are you supposed to do? Like, are you supposed to handle everything with gloves until it's, been satisfactorily deemed safe in your house? Like,
well, I've you know me, I've already been a germ freak all my life. Already had, the hand sanitizer everywhere. So every time after UPS or the mailman or FedEx drops something here or picks something up, I'm like wiping everything down, wiping my hands, and yeah. So I'm already there. I'm with.
I'm still reminded of that the China box thing in The Simpsons where they open the box and it just sprays the sickness into their face. You remember that episode? There was a funny thing, like they did a thing where they're like, oh yeah, they predicted Trump and they predicted the China virus, and it's all this stuff. It's like, I don't know how they do it, but whatever.
So anyways,
yeah, it'll be very interesting, and even the distributors that are open, I looked at my orders just today, and we've got orders that are over 2 weeks old that have not shipped yet. So even though they're open, they're slow as molasses getting stuff out because they're either underhanded, understaffed, and over ordered or what. But it's a rough go out there.
So Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. Also have over 85 designs in stock ready to ship. Just got cleaning mats back in stock. If you're looking for an awesome cleaning mat, if you're stuck at home, all you can do is clean your guns. We have the cleaning mats for you. patriotpatch.co. So, yeah, I mean, speaking of, the run and everything, I may have bought some ammo again.
Now, where have you been finding it? Because I always follow Mr. Guns and Gear on Facebook, and he always posts links to doing it. He's like an affiliate
guru,
insanity guy. I don't know how he just spends that much time doing all those, but he does. And I've noticed that a lot of people, where they link to the Bass Pro or Cabela's ammo links, that it says it's in stock, you get the order in, and then they wait like 5 days and then cancel your order because they didn't have stock. And it's like, where did you actually get ammo?
Well, I'll see, because I did the Bass Pro thing.
Did you?
Yeah. And I've never ordered anything from Bass Pro, and they are rated like terribly on like AmmoSeek. You can go there, and AmmoSeek is kind of what do you call it? It's
like a search engine for ammo deals kind of thing.
Yeah, and then you can rate the suppliers on there or the retailers on there, and like Bass Pro is like the worst rating out of anyone. So yeah, I don't know. There was 9mm that was really cheap. It was a Herder's brand, which people say is terrible, but should still shoot. And then there was some 223 that was like 36 cents a round, which isn't awful. So I pulled the trigger on that, and we'll see. I'm kind of thinking, yeah, they're going to cancel it or something, but well, I don't know. We'll find out. Other than I've gone to order a few ammo times this week in the past, and every time I get to the checkout screen, I just look at that shipping cost, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. Because when you order from the distributors, as long as you order a case, you get it shipped free. And that adds up when you're talking ammo. Well, it was only $20 to ship 2,000 rounds from Bass Pro, if they actually ship it. So that's not bad. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not like pinched for ammo or anything. I'm part of the problem.
But what also helps, you don't ever shoot, so you get to you could buy anything and be an order.
Hey, I did shoot. I went tree trimming with a Stoger, whatever it's called, the M5000 or the
3500, isn't it?
Or 35? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Stoger, the autoloader that I got, 12 gauge, 28-inch barrel. Got it for shooting clays or maybe a bird, and took it out. Because you asked if I'd test fired it or anything. I was like, nope, haven't done anything with it. I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. We have all this timber behind our house here that all these trees have all these scraggly, broken off branches and everything. So I shoved as many shotgun shells in all my pockets on my coat as I could, and I went out there blasting, and it was pretty fun. I mean, I haven't ever done that. Except
when you said tree trimming, I assumed you taped it to a pole and had a cord on there, and you like stuck it up like one of those tree trimmers that have little scissors on the end of a big old stick.
Well, I got to this one tree that I was blasting at, the biggest limb of anything I tried, and because it was broken off and it was way up there, there's no way I was going to even get a ladder up there to fix it, and And I shot it, and it fell, and then it got caught, and I'm like, crap. Now what am I going to do? Because now it's a real hazard. Now it's completely broken off, but it's hanging on this other limb. I made it worse. And so I went through at least a whole box of shells trying to knock it down. And
it's like a wood chipper too now.
Yeah, it's pretty much. So I had to come back in and get more shells. And I found some like double buck or something. I'm like, oh, this will pack a punch. This will be good. and it worked. It took about 10, 12 more shots, but it was a lot of 12 gauge. But it fell down and it was awesome. I should have videotaped it, but it was fun. Good times. And the shotgun ran perfectly. I just ran through probably 6 or 7 different loads. That because all my shotgun stuff was in like a couple ammo cans and it's all mixed up. I haven't shot shotgun for years, and so I thought that was a pretty good testament to that shotgun being able to chew through anything I threw in it.
That's cool.
But yeah, other than that, I didn't do a whole lot. And guns, I didn't get to work on the 1022s at all. I guess you did a lot of gun stuff, which is good.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's a lot, but I did get this bad boy right here jiggered up. So this is, for those of you who can't see, this is the CZ Scorpion that I've had for a while now that has the integral, whatever, depending on how you say it, suppressor under the handguard. So it has a radially ported barrel that's, I think 4 or 5 inches, something like that. Big old suppressor that's tucked in the handguard.
I mean, that's your space gun. That's your aliens gun.
This is. And then previous to now, it had a folding pistol brace from SB Tactical on it. And that pistol brace mimicked the B&T stock, the infamous B&T stock. So what I did, the problem with this gun is since the suppressor is tucked into this handguard and there's basically no room, it clears air gap there, but not much. It transfers the heat into the handguard quite a bit. So we talked about this before. If you're holding it like a normal rifle, it gets hot quick. So I thought, let's just do a SBR, then I can put a vertical foregrip on it. So I did that, and basically I have the folding B&T stock here, and it is basically the same shape as the SB brace. I mean, when you lay them on top of each other, they're basically identical, except for obviously this is a rigid plastic stock. So, really in the end, I don't think it's necessary to go to the stock. Like if you want to keep it a pistol, if it weren't for the heat issue up front with the handguard, I would not be doing the stock. But since you can't do one without the other, here we are. I got this. And what I did is I added it. So the way all these things work,
sorry, explain that. You can't do one without the other. What does that mean?
I can't have a pistol brace and a vertical foregrip on it because it's no longer than a pistol. So to do that with the length of the gun as it is, which I believe is 26 inches you have to be under or over to have a vertical foregrip on a pistol. There's an arbitrary number. I think it's 26 inches. Don't quote me on that. Look it up. But you have to have an overall length on your pistol of a whatever length, and then you can go to a vertical foregrip. And you could do the angled grip and all that, whatever. But so I did this guy here, and how these stocks work is this is the same B&T stock that was made famous. It's their same one that's on like I think it's APCs, all the B&T subguns kind of use this stock. And then they had an MP5 conversion for it, so this was on a lot of MP5s you see. And what it is it's basically just this push button hinging mechanism, and then it's got a hinge rib here where a bolt goes through. And then you buy these adapters that actually interface that stock to your gun. So there's a bunch of different versions of these. Like you could buy this for the MP5, you can get it for the Scorpion, and really the SB brace comes with the same adapter or a similar adapter because the brace attaches in the same exact way because it's basically a clone of this stock. The one thing I went with this brace adapter versus the SB Tactical one, the SB Tactical one is fine. They go a little bit looser to deal with inconsistencies with the Scorpion. So where really, there's a little push button. When you open the hinge adapter open, facing the rear plate of the Scorpion, there's a little hole. And behind that is just like a little button. It almost looks like a forward assist button. It's got that same circular pattern. And you push that in, and then you could slide this whole adapter up and off the gun. And the SB Tactical version of that, you slip down the same way and it clicks in. But the way they machine it, I'm assuming they just run it a little bit sloppier just to fit more guns without having any issues. They put a set screw on the side and a set screw in the back. And that kind of just creates tension on the gun. And that's fine. It's whatever. But since I was going already all in, I did this HB Industries adapter. And the way they machine it is, I don't know how they do it. Engineering mastery or something. I have no idea. But you basically just tap it on there, and it is rock steady. It's as solid as you can expect, and it just uses that one detent in the back like the factory one. So super easy to swap on and off. So far I like the stock. It feels just like the brace except for it's rigid, obviously, like I just said, but the hinge, you can see it's a little bit stiff. They oversize this plastic or undersize the aluminum, however you want to look at it, so it's a little bit tighter fit. It wears in as you go. Like it was I had to tap it in with a dead blow hammer originally to get that cross bolt in it. But as I've been working it, it's snapping in positively. It locks up tight. There's no wiggle in here, which is really nice. But that was kind of just what I needed to do to get this vertical foregrip on here. And this is kind of where the magic is. This is from a company called A3 Tactical, and it's a 2-piece grip. So they make them for Picatinny, Keymod, M-Lock, any of the major, attachment methods. So I got the M-Lock version because this is an M-Lock rail from HB Industries on this gun. And you get this base, and this one is the one that has the vertical or the finger stop on it built in. So you have this base that has 2 M-Lock bolts, goes up in the rail, tightens down, and then hanging down from it is a bolt that has a captured head in the adapter. And then you just have a nut. So you slip this grip over it, and then there's just a flange nut that you tighten down. So they build the same base with a bunch of different actual grip modules, and I'm using the HK groove style, so it looks like an HK style. So between the stock and the vertical foregrip, it's kind of MP5-ish. It's got the same kind of look as an MP5K. On this gun, it's a little bit limiting because I can't go more forward than what it is now, because then the M-Lock screw will hit the suppressor. But it actually works out because when I'm holding it, then my support hand my elbow can go into my torso and create like a triangle brace to kind of support the weight even better. So far, so good. I have a slight concern that it's not going to fully solve my heat socket or my heat issue because the grip is aluminum. It may just act as a heat sink that brings the heat directly into my hand. I don't know. I will find it out when I shoot it.
Now, you could have got a polymer version of that same grip, right?
I could, but the upper is always still going to be metal. So the grip might be polymer, but then the upper half that actually interfaces with the M-Lock, that's still going to be metal. And that's you're
still touching
inside.
That.
Yeah, your inside edge of your pointer finger will still be rubbing that. So we'll see. Now I do have another solution. So this is one of those kind of feast or famine situations. Like I had nothing going on, but then as soon as I started planning my content for spring and summer, like everything started falling into place. This stock was out of stock forever, and they just happened to got them in time. The grip came in like a couple days. Everything was coming. And at SHOT Show, Innovative Arms, who the suppressor came from, they announced a heat shield that would bolt on the bottom of this, create a big air gap, not a big air gap, air gap, and then it would give you another M-Lock interface below it. So I've been asking about that for a while, and it hasn't been available. And lo and behold, I got an email saying that mine will be shipping out next week. So what that means is then I could bolt that up. And what the other benefit of that is it allows you to use the more forward M-Lock slots again, because it's kind of perched off the rail, creating another rail underneath it. It looked really good at SHOT Show. I'm not explaining it well. It makes it sound like it's going to be gaudy. Hopefully it won't be, but that should solve my issue. And in reality, if the heat shield works, then you really don't even need the stock and the grip, really. I mean, but it does look really cool. It makes it a cool, handy little SBR. But if the heat shield works, which I hope it will, I'm still going to mount this grip on the bottom side of that heat shield and kind of get the best of both worlds. But I mean, the guy Phil over at Innovative Arms showed me videos when they were testing that heat shield, and it was about half the heat of what was on the rail. So I mean, it definitely was working. We'll just see if it's comfortable to shoot. But so far, I'm super excited about this guy. It's a really comfortable gun. The only thing I have left after the heat shield is Cerakote. So what is your opinion here? So here's what I'm going to do. So you've seen my CZP-10C that has been done by Pike over at Mod 1, where it was stippled, it was done in Sig Dark Gray when it has the red trigger in it, and it's got a black slide Sig Dark Gray frame stippled with a red trigger. I love that look. So what I'm thinking here, since this is the same exact red, because it's the same company that made these triggers on this one, I'm thinking about doing the upper receiver, the lower receiver, and the rail in Sig Dark Gray, and leaving the suppressor, grip, mag, grip, and stock black. I think that would look cool, but I don't know. I think it will. We'll see. But I think the gray and the red look really good together.
Yeah. No, I think that would look cool. Are you going to color that shield too, or leave that black?
Oh yeah, I guess I will. That's a good question. I don't know. I guess I'll see what it looks like when I get it. I'd rather not do it and then add it later if I need to, versus having to strip it off later. But
I could have saved you hundreds and hundreds of dollars by just sending you some silicone oven mitts, and that would have solved everything.
I was actually. It's funny you say that. Burn Proof Gear makes handguard wraps, which is like almost like a fabric that you strap around it tight.
Oh yeah.
And I was going to do that. They're also like over $100 just for that wrap, which is kind of crazy. But the charging handle is right here on this gun, and it's right below where your hand would be. So I wasn't sure how you'd get it around it and let the charging handle still work. So you'd have to stay in the front half of the charging handle, which is not ideal. So I played with the idea. The free idea is just hold the damn gun by the mag well. You're fine. But what fun is that, right? So the other thing that this spurred on was the great Holosun debate. You know how you got a Holosun, right? And you know how the Holosun comes with a low mount and a high mount, right?
Right.
The low mount basically bolts directly to the bottom of the optic. In this case, it's like a Aimpoint T1 style bolt pattern, so Aimpoint mounts work with it. At least the Holosuns that I got, and I think you got too. The low mount works. That's what I had on this gun, was a low mount. So the rail, or the optic, was basically right on the rail, and that created a absolute co-witness with the iron sights. I took the iron sights off recently, but the iron sights that come on this Scorpion, they were a direct co-witness, absolute co-witness.
Yeah.
And that was fine. But what I noticed is, as I was shouldering this, I had to kind of tilt my head down just a little bit and kind of bury my face into the cheek weld to get that dot where I wanted it. So then it got me thinking, okay, well, what about the other mount? So I put the other mount that comes with the Holosun on, and that is intended to be a lower third co-witness on an AR-15 at least. So that means it goes up a couple hundred thou higher. And on this one, it made it way too high, because that's assuming you have a straight stock, but this B&T stock drops probably an inch or so from the top of the Picatinny rail down to where your actual cheek is. There is a downward step, and then it goes flat. So you have to account for that. So what I did is I had this LaRue mount laying around. This is a QD LaRue mount for an Aimpoint, and I didn't know what height it was. I had to look it up. This is intended to be an absolute co-witness height as well. So on this gun, it's absolute co-witness on an AR-15, I should have said. Yeah. So that would have been in theory lined up with the front sight. On this gun, it's just enough height. It's just enough to get me where if I put the stock in the pocket of my shoulder, versus, because I noticed when I was firing a lot of guns, I'd bring the stock a little bit higher in my pocket, and I would look down it. But if I really put it down where it really should be, and I go down to get a cheek weld, the dot is there. So I like this height mount. So now that I've got it kind of figured out what height I want, I would rather get a different mount, because what I don't like is I don't like all these snag points and pieces. And I know it's bad enough with the charging handle on the CZ Scorpion sticking out. I don't need optic mount ones either. So this one is a QD mount. So you have a little lever on the on the side that you pull back, and then it flips around 180 degrees to come off the gun. And it works good. I mean, it works really, really good. But so that got me looking just to see what are the lightweight, cool mounts. And I came across Scalarworks, and they have a beautiful website for one. If you want to be sold on a product, go to their website. You'll want to buy everything. You may not be able to afford everything on their website because their stuff is not cheap, but it got me looking at their mounts. If you're looking at the Aimpoint mount or the RMR mount, they have this they use like a detent system with some little knurled knobs. So you basically unscrew like a ratcheting style knob instead of having to do a lever that swings out with tabs on it. It's super slim side to side. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
So they make it in quite a few mount heights, standard, lower third, and then the 193 for like night vision use or, more of a chin weld. So I'm thinking, I mean, I've already got enough money in this gun. What's another $150, right?
Right.
So it will be very ironic that the actual mount for said Hollow Sun costs more than the Hollow Sun.
Right. I was going to say it.
The way I look at it is it's an investment. You can invest in a good mount and then swap to an Aimpoint later, but at least for now it works with a Hollow Sun.
I thought you had all this woodworking equipment. Couldn't you just like make a little wood block to fill in there?
Yeah, but with the humidity and temperature, it swells and it'll throw off your point of impact, and I'll just have to write EOTech on the side or something.
Yeah. You carve it with a wood chisel or a wood burner.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to change it right this second, but I think it's a good idea. And also, I was looking at it, their RMR mount, which there's links on in the show notes here for everything. And the RMR mount, it's super lightweight. It's like 1 point something ounces. It's super light. Because right now my PWS rifle is wearing an RMR 1MOA dot on it. And it's using the factory Trijicon riser, and it's pretty chunky of a riser. I thought that'd be a really cool riser to put on there and be able to QD it and all that. So considering that, but we'll see. If anybody's used those Scalarworks ones, email me or email Jake and get over to me. I have used their Benelli mount. They make a Benelli shotgun RMR mount that integrates right to the receiver, and my boss bought one of those Super Black Eagles or whatever, and we put one of those on there, and it was fantastic for that. So I'm assuming it's going to be good quality like that.
Yeah, I can see it being super quick and streamlined, and I guess just finger tightening is your only option though, because there's no hex head or any kind of option to tighten.
Yeah, and that's what
tool.
Exactly. Apparently, something with the way it clamps, it doesn't use just brute force to hold it on. It's got like a detent that doesn't allow it to back off once you've ratcheted it to that point or something. There's videos on their website that show it returning to zero and everything. Supposedly they're good. They make one beautiful scope mount. They make a really nice one-piece scope mount that the rings are beautiful on it. And it's really expensive. I think it's like $400, but it had this is one of the most clever things I saw in a scope mount. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. Is essentially the base of the scope mount, right dead center, kind of where your turret cap would be. There's a big, fat, flat, threaded post. So when you put the scope in the rings, you screw that post up from the bottom. It pushes against the bottom flat of your scope, because almost every scope has a flat bottom right there. Yeah. And it'll level it in the rings perfectly to the ring.
That's cool.
Tighten the rings, and then you could thread that post back down. That's ingenious. Like, I could not believe how smart that is.
Yeah, I was just looking at that actually. That is ingenious. And you know what they have? They have, for the rail mount, they have basically wheels you just spin tight.
Yeah.
And then, there's a set screw that you set screw, into the wheel mechanism internally. But like on the backside, there's a set screw that you can crank in.
Okay.
I wonder if that's like optional. If you really want it locked down, you do the set screw. Otherwise, you don't have to do the set screw. That's what I would kind of assume, but who knows?
When I was looking at the exploded diagram, it looked like to me that I was just capturing the ball detent and screw in there, or spring and detent. Oh,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. There is just a ball detent.
Like a stopper.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah, cool stuff. If anybody's ever used them, I'd be curious what your thoughts are. So I've been talking for long on this Scorpion. What else have you been doing?
I've been prepping homesteading stuff, I guess. We got more animals. We got baby ducks and baby turkeys. I told the kids.
Calculated how many mouths you have to feed every month?
Oh, well, I mean, as soon as it's nice out, they can go eat bugs and stuff. You know, they eat a lot of stuff out of the yard. They're free range. I mean, I still have to buy like at least a bag or two of feed a month. So there's that. But I mean, that was winter during this winter. So they're going to be running all over and eating a bunch of stuff.
What do you do with it? What do you do with a duck or a turkey? I mean, you're not eating these.
It's called Thanksgiving dinner, Zach.
No, you're not going to eat that for Thanksgiving. What do you do with them?
A turkey?
Like, are they pets?
No, these are turkeys that you butcher. They're just the white Thanksgiving turkeys. They're only white feathers. They're not like the wild turkeys. They're like the turkeys on the turkey farms where you know.
Yeah.
How are you going to get a turkey? We saw the meat counters and everything are empty. How are you? So
you got, hopefully you're hungry in like 9 months when they're ready to eat. So you got to plant that seed early, apparently. How long does it take to get them to butcher? From the time you buy it, you buy it as like a little chickling type thing?
Yeah. I mean, they'll be ready this winter for sure. They grow fast.
And how much is a bag of feed?
Oh, we don't think about that.
This is going to be like $1,000 turkey by the time you get done with it.
Well, at least I'm not putting an RMR mount under it that costs as much as the turkey.
Yeah, but I can sell mine when I'm done with it. All you got is you're going to literally poop yours out.
Well, you know, it is funny when you try to calculate it out. Like, is this really worth it? And you can't look at it that way. I mean, for me, it's an experience with the kids raising them and everything, and just having that experience growing up as part of their education, too, and everything. I mean, I don't think it's going to get so bad where we can't buy turkeys in the store, but it is a good life skill to teach our kids, I think. And just
are you going to butcher this at home?
Yeah, why not? I've butchered chickens and turkeys, or not turkeys, but ducks before.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
I know Scott did it, and he had the whole finger washing machine thing that it spun around and defeathered it. Right? Are you going to build one of those?
No, I don't have enough to do that. I'll just use a blow torch or something.
You're going to fry the skin before you even get it. Well, that seems sanitary.
How the kids pluck them, right?
Oh, I'm sure as they're weeping and crying, pulling every feather out, remembering all the good old days before you had to kill it.
I mean, the tears help lubricate the feathers to extract them better. So, yeah.
So with all these money pits, when are you going to buy a horse?
Oh gosh, that is a money pit. I mean, I guess if you get bad off, I don't know. If it gets really bad, you could eat a horse, I suppose. But that's not legal, so allegedly that would never happen. So I don't know. 4 ducks, 4 turkeys. We have 13 chickens. We have I don't know. We're gonna have a dozen cats here soon. So yeah.
Why do you have so many cats? What's the point of the cats?
It's just pets for the kids. I know, it drives me crazy too.
Do you have a dog?
No, I should probably. No. Well, the problem with a dog is you got to get the kids to a point where they can train it to not either it's not pooping everywhere, or if it does poop everywhere, the kids pick it up, and our kids just aren't quite old enough for that responsibility. The nice thing about a cat is, in general, they don't poop everywhere you step like a dog does.
A turkey, in my experience, does. So now you're going to have turkeys.
Wow.
And there's this liquid grease that comes out of them.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've thought about caging. Yeah. The chickens drive me crazy because they do poop everywhere.
Are they not penned in at all? No. At least a section of your yard? They're all free range?
Yeah. They go everywhere.
So you have to bring them in every single night?
No, they go in for you at night. As soon as it gets dark, they'll go in. So
sounds like what you need is a thermal optic, and you need to tie a chicken down to the ground and bring in some coyotes.
Oh, so out in that timber behind her house, I found a couple rabbit kills from coyotes. So yeah, I'm thinking I need to take an old piece of meat or something out there. One of these when it gets nicer out, one of these summer nights, and just lay in wait for some coyotes and murk them in the dark. But I supposedly we're all getting government checks and everything, the stimulus.
Oh yeah, we should have talked about what you're going to buy with your stimulus check.
I know, and I said, honey, can I get? She said, we're putting that away for house payments just in case. I'm like, what? I can't get night vision? She's like, no night vision. I'm like, what about thermal? She's like, no thermal.
So you're going to go up in price instead of down. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
She doesn't know what anything costs. Come on.
Tell her you need it's perimeter security you have to buy.
Right, I know. It's our family safety is at stake here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Would you go thermal or night vision?
Well, eventually you need both. I think for me, I'm not going to say this is right for everybody, but I think thermal on the rifle, night vision on the helmet.
Yeah.
So you can identify with either or, but like just scanning around with thermal doesn't do no good if you can't see it and shoot it. So like you need a rifle mounted thermal with if you just want night vision, you could do an IR pointer, or you could aim passively through your holosun or whatever. You can if you can get behind it comfortably. That's why they sell those higher mounts nowadays. You could still shoot passively or actively with an IR laser.
Like for me, shooting coyotes out in my pasture here, what would the first purchase?
I think everybody should have night vision just in general, just because they're so useful. They're utilitarian in so many other different ways. But if you're trying to shoot stuff like animals and you need to identify them and you're not going to be close to them, like if you're going to be shooting 100 yards or more, I think you got to get thermal.
So night vision's utilitarian. So like I'm going to be using this for like cleaning the gutters or mowing the yard at night, or what are we talking about? If you want
to, I mean, this is how you maximize your day. Like, why be limited to the sun's time that tells you can work outside? Own your own time. But from my experience, when I was was it last year or year before? I think it was like year before. I was doing that article with the thermal scopes, and I took out a good Gen 3 night vision and the Pulsar and Trijicon thermals scopes, and I had a handheld thermal from Pulsar as well. And when we went to my in-laws' place, they have 20 acres and there's animals out in the field and everything. We're sitting on the porch and scanning them with the thermal. You see something right there. You can actually see it, identify it, go for it. You switch to the night vision and you don't see it. Like they're too far. You don't get the resolution. I mean, you can't hide from the thermal. The thermal goes off heat, but the night vision, you can get far enough away that you just don't have clarity on it or you don't see it as well. So, but just walking around, you don't want to be walking around through thermal because you don't see the ground features as much and everything. Like if all of the dirt you're walking in is all the same temperature, you're not going to see it really all that well. So you if you really want the well-rounded package, you almost need both. And I think that's why a lot of guys use the helmets with the PVS 14s on their left eye if they're a hand shooter, and then a thermal on the gun. And then you could scan, walk around with the helmet, and then you could also get right down without doing anything different. You can just use your right eye on the thermal scope. But there's a lot of different ways, and I'm no expert at it, but that's how I would do it. Just the thermal is so expensive, and once you have a good one, you never want to do a cheap one anymore too. So it's like when I had that Pulsar that was, I think retail was $5,000, and then that Trijicon, which was $8,000. The Trijicon was so much better. And it made the Pulsar look so crappy, but the Pulsar, if you had never seen anything else, it's great. But when you see the next level, you're like, crap. Now I want that. But so that's why I don't own any thermal. I have a thermal imager from Leopold, the Tracker HD or whatever. I have that, but you can't, that's not for shooting off your gun or anything. But, but yeah, I think you should just buy both with your stimulus check that you won't cover either really. But actually you could get night vision for how much you probably get. Wait a minute. You've got like 10 kids. You'll get you could probably buy both. Each one of them is $500. That's $2,500 just in kids.
Yeah. telling you, it paid off. It finally paid off.
Finally. Yeah. Just like this turkey dinner is going to pay off.
It is. Turkey for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, get all the holidays covered.
Yeah. You'll just remember all their little clucking every time you are taking a bite. remembering the good times.
It makes it all that much more delicious.
I don't know about that. It'll be dream hunting.
Oh, I'm so glad you got a grocery store to get your food.
Yeah, me too.
So anyways, what you were playing around with some suppressors this week too?
Yeah. So, I building more ARs now, and when I really just had the one that I was shooting mostly, and I've had had a couple others that I wasn't really, they're just kind of safe guns. I have a direct thread 223 can, which is a Innovative Arms Grunt, which is fine when I bought it. QDs back when I bought that in like 2011 weren't really all that popular or commonplace, but there's been this big shift where a lot of these suppressor companies are going to the rear mount thread of, I think it's 1 3/8 by 24. And what that does is it opens up your world. And I have those Q cans, Q, the company. Q is a really polarizing company. People love them or hate them. I'm kind of indifferent on it. If they make good products, I like them. I know the guy that owns it can be polarizing for a lot of people. I get it. Don't email me, whatever. But what they do make is this thing called the Plan B and a cherry bomb. So all their really big thing is on tapers, right? So tapers, cans, a lot of direct thread cans that I've had, they'll loosen up as you're shooting, and it's really, really annoying. Like really annoying. And it's not safe either. If the can goes off too far, it's going to hit a baffle strike. Oh. And a lot of these mounts that you can get, there's dead air mounts, there's silencer co mounts, there's all these different brands have their different type of attachment methods, and some are fine, some are whatever. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. There's no really right answer for anybody, but for me, I think the Q is the system for me. And the reason I think that is because they do a couple things. They put the thread attachment in front of a tapered shoulder. So in the back of a tapered shoulder, so when you're threading it on, so you thread the suppressor on, the suppressor mount and the muzzle device seal with this taper, and then behind it is the thread. So the threads are never exposed to that carbon, that hot carbon that comes out of the muzzle brake and just locks up suppressors. If you ever had a suppressor lock up, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a bear, and the taper seals it. It's like a gas seal almost right there, and the seal of the taper keeps it more tight on the gun because there's more surface area compared to just like a 90-degree shoulder where it's just barely touching, as you crank it on the shoulder. So all of the Q's guns come with that taper already built in, and all their suppressors already have that matching taper and thread system. But they have these adapters to if you have other cans. So I want a Q can, but Q is so far backward. They never have anything in stock, it seems like. So I couldn't wait for a Trash Panda. A Trash Panda is what I want. It's a 30 cal, all titanium, tubeless can that's light, quiet, great. It's a little expensive, but it is what it is. So what I did is I have my Dead Air Nomad. And the Nomad, I believe, is the first can from Dead Air that has that 1 3/8 by 24 pitch on the back. So it can take this this Plan B adapter. So Q makes this Plan B adapter, and they make it in a couple different styles for mainly silencer co cans. But thankfully, when somebody says like an Omega thread pitch, that is that same thread pitch. So a lot of different cans use it. They just don't call it the 1 3/8 by 24. It's just the Omega thread or whatever. And this Plan B is just a simple adapter that goes in your can, and then it gives you that taper and thread pitch on the inside. So instead of being like a 5/8 by 24, like a direct thread for a 30 cal or a 1/2 by 28, that's what a lot of these mounts are, is you thread them into the can and they give you that other direct thread. Well, this gives it the adapter to go to Q's muzzle devices. And they have what's called a cherry bomb. And the cherry bomb is just a omnidirectional muzzle brake. I've heard it's not that great of a brake if you're using it as a brake. I don't plan on using it as a brake per se, so I'm not terribly concerned about it. But do you remember? I don't know if you remember when we were talking about their cans. The things I liked about their can was like the El Camino that I really love is the 22 caliber can. It has a 1/2 inch socket cap on the end where you just use a regular ratchet and take it off. They did the same kind of thing here where the muzzle device has that same socket. You just use the socket, torque it down. So you torque that on the barrel and then you're good. And you just leave that alone. I'm going to rock set it as well, which is, are you familiar with rock set?
Mm-mm.
Rock set is equivalent like a Loctite, but it doesn't get affected by heat. Like it's basically almost like a glue, really. And the only way to get it off is to soak it in hot water, and then it breaks the seal, and then you can take it off. Huh. So it's like a thread locking compound. So I'll use that on there as well because I'll just leave those adapters on it. So I ordered, I think 4 or 5 cherry bombs total. One for my 30 cal, my 6.5 Creedmoor, and then the rest for ARs. And then I bought a Plan B for the Nomad. So now that Nomad that used to be a direct thread 5/8 24 only, so I could only put it on my 6.5, I'll be able to quick detach, which quick detach is like five threads. It's like a, it's not like a click on type thing. But I can go put it on any of my ARs. So it just became, that can that I already own becomes much more versatile to me because I can switch it to any of those guns at a moment's notice. And then in doing that, I thought, well, I don't want that to be my only can that has it. So, obviously, I checked for the Q, Trash Panda, back ordered. Okay, whatever. I also wanted a YHM mini turbo, or it's a Turbo K, which is a very small can. This YHM can is like $400 and some retail, very small. My buddy Dan has one. We've shot it. It's great. And it has that same thread pitch on it, so we could put another Plan B on there. All of my distributors were out of it, so I called YHM directly to get it from them, and they're like, oh yeah, we're like 3 or 4 months back on everything. And I was like, okay, well, my impatience is not doesn't get satisfied by that. And then I remembered Rex Silentium. And I don't know if you remember with Rex Silentium, we tested I still have them in my safe, their 22 cans that were like segmented. They had all these cans that were really modular. You could make it short, long. They had a little tiny can that went on the Beretta. It was great. And they make a can that has that same thread pitch on it. And they kind of do, it's kind of like the stainless steel version of the Q can. They use that tubeless design, which is also like the Nomad. It's a big, fat 1.70 inch diameter. And a bit shorter. I think it's 5.6 inches long. So it's kind of that short, squat can, which I like that look personally. And they're stainless steel. So they're 17.4. So they're going to be a little bit heavier than the Q counterpart. The Q cans are all titanium, but it's the same similar style. But these cans, I think the Trash Panda is $1,000, remember, right? I'd have to look at it. But then the Rex is $450 retail. And they had them in stock, and they make them in all the different thread pitches. It seems like it's the same suppressor, just different bore sizes in it. So I bought a 224 can to use in all my ARs, and then I also bought a 264 can for my 6.5 Creedmoor. And the reason I did that, because I technically can use the 264 can on the ARs as well. But if you look at their numbers they're listing, it's like 3 decibels higher used on a 223 gun, because I guess the extra gas escaping the hole, I'm guessing. So I figured for how cheap they are, I was able to get 2 of them. So I put the order in. They said they were in stock, so hopefully that ships as soon as the Form 3 clears, and I'll let you know. And I ordered more Plan Bs for those 2 suppressors. So pretty soon here, I'll have 3 rifle cans that can interchange between all of my rifles that are centerfire. And I think that's going to be a pretty good place to be. And I don't think the Cherry Bomb by itself is going to be that pleasant to shoot because it's just a muzzle brake, and I'm not real big on brakes. So I bought, Q makes a whistle tip is what they call it. It's basically just a blast shield, so it threads on that same outer thread pitch, and I bought a couple of those to cover the ports on the muzzle brake if I'm shooting a gun unsuppressed. The odds of me shooting a gun unsuppressed are pretty slim, but it will be a possibility, so I bought a couple of those as well.
That Trash Panda, yeah, it's $1,000. It looks huge. Is it huge?
What's the set here? I'll pull up the.
It's 6.9 inches long, about 12 ounces.
Yeah. So then, and what's the diameter?
I don't see it right away here.
Okay. So the Rex can is 5.6 inches long, so it's a couple inches shorter or well, I guess 1.3 inches shorter. It's also 12.1 ounces. Now, this is a kind of a misnomer because it's 12.1 ounces, but I have to add the Plan B to it. And the Trash Panda has that mount already integral to it. So I don't think it's an apples to apples. I think it actually is going to push the Rex into the mid 13 ounce area, which it is what it is. I don't have a choice. And it's a 1.7 inch diameter. So it's a bit different.
Well, I don't know though, because they picture the Trash Panda without that threaded in it, and so is it weighed without that threaded in it?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. I would assume with it being titanium, it has to be lighter, right?
Yeah, it just looks a really big diameter. It doesn't even state the diameter on Silencer Shop, so I don't know.
Oh,
how big
the diameter is 1.75. Okay, so 1.75 inch versus 1.70. So it's 50 thou bigger diameter, so it's about the same.
Yeah.
But it is 6.9 inch overall, where the Rex is only 5.6. So the Rex is probably not going to be as quiet as a Trash Panda just because of the length. But it is also, I was able to get 2 for the price of 1. So looking at the queue, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 8 baffles, maybe 9 baffles on it. And the other can I'm looking at is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, they're getting that extra length just with more baffles, but it looks similar otherwise. I mean, we'll see. But I think it is. I'm looking at it here, and I think it is the mount is integral there because it's just the thread pitch on the back. So it should be, because they list the weight as 11.8 ounces and then the muzzle brake weight of 2 ounces. Well, the muzzle brake is a cherry bomb, so that's apples to apples. But the Plan B is like almost a couple ounces too.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, it's a it's a long road. I kind of looked at it. I went back and forth on this. I've been thinking about this for a long time, but it's one of those things like, okay, I'm spending a lot of money in adapters, and every new suppressor that's not a Q is going to require this, what is it, $150 or whatever for the adapter. But that's still cheaper because the $200 tax stamps. Like I looked at the Turbo K is like $400. So I was like, I could buy another Turbo K and be ahead. But then I thought, well, duh, I got to pay another $200 tax stamp then. So by the time you add all these tax stamps in, then it gets more expensive. So
yeah,
even with the adapter, it's still cheaper. And it looks like the Plan B is 1.85 ounces, so just under 2 ounces to the suppressor that I'll have to add on the Rex.
So how quick are the tax stamps coming around for stuff like this now?
I don't know. I've still got some that are outstanding from September, so who knows? But the nice thing is, as soon as this comes in, I can check it out because it's through the license that I'm on, so
right.
I don't have to wait for the tax stamps.
Cool. Yeah, you're going to have a bunch of fun coming in the mail.
I'm trying to get ready for the spring, summer. I want to have all my stuff here ready to start writing and doing videos and all that stuff for.
Yeah. Hope you have ammo.
I'm going to come steal yours.
Anyways, so I don't know. That's I think that's a pretty good show there. I think we'll just keep doing shows talking about what we've been up to. It's better than trying to force a topic that we don't want to talk about.
Like how much you spend on 1022s?
Well, we're out of time here, so or how much Zach spends on mounts.
You can just add it up. I already said how much.
All right, you can shoot us feedback at gunguyradio@gmail.com. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch of the Month Club and check out all the cool cleaning mats we got over there, patriotpatch.co. Also, if you're in need of website design, graphic design, check out hunterofdesign.com. Ryan Cross, he can help you out with your logos. Website, hunterofdesign.com. And Zach, where can people connect with you online?
Take a look at YouTube, and I just put a new video up today about the differences between SP Tactical's A3 and A4 braces. So check that out. I didn't know before I had them in hand, so I think it'll help some people. Take a look at YouTube and just search for Zack Carlson Writer.
Cool. And don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows here on the Firearms Radio Network. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap. We'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.